men's and women's teams.
Hello, welcome along. Thanks for your company. What a night. The sportsbreaks.com Tour Series 13th edition of this famous series goes live to you for the first time. You join us this evening for round one. We are in Guisborough tonight. The elite women are just taking to the start line. Jo Tindley, you can see there in her national champions jersey. She won that in that Lincoln National Championships last year. She was one of the riders of the series, you would say, last year, Jo Tindley, but many second places in those rounds. She will be looking to make amends for that this year and look to try and take a Tour Series victory. Thanks for joining us. Martin McDonald with you to take you through tonight's racing. We have the women's race, which will be followed about 6 o'clock by the men's race. And this series, we've come a long way in the women's series since that first one race this year. 7 races we will have in total, and we will have an hour plus 5 laps of racing. And we, of course, have our sprint laps as well. That is always a much fought after jersey throughout the series. And last year, Jo Tindley taking that sprint jersey. In terms of general classification last year, it was Cams Basso that took the title ahead of Pro Noctis Chili Bike Heidi Kietzen. Ahead of Team LDN, Brother UK, they had a good series last year as well. Jaden Vive Lavello, one of our sort of traditional teams that we have in the Tour Series. They were 4th. Team Boom Pods, they had a great series last year again with Ella McDermott getting up there on multiple occasions. Spectra Wiggle Vitus was 6th. Skoda DSI was 7th. Brother UK on form 8th. Crimson Orientation Marketing were 9th. And Loughborough Lightning were 10th last year. Let's run you through your teams and who you are seeing in action tonight. Bex Durrell here in that grey and gold jersey there for Spectra, and her first race back for Bex Durrell. If you are familiar with the Tour Series, you will know Bex. But having given birth to her son Jasper, this is her first race back for the Team Spectra Wiggle, presented by Vitus. Cams Basso, they're here this evening. You're watching out for Megan Barker. And Megan Barker, what a series she had last year. Jess Finney, Ella Barnwell, Sophie Lewis and Sophie Thackeray. Then Pro Noctis Rota Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kietzen. They admit it themselves. It's the longest team name in cycling. I don't know if we'll get that out on every occasion. We've got Corinne Side, Isabel Darby, Jo Tindley, Lucy Elmore and Poppy Thompson. For Brother UK, LDN, Harriet Dodd, Lucy Lee, Sammy Stewart, Danny Wilkinson and Sean Botley are the team for them. And you got Jaden Vive Lavello, Matea Delu, Suzetta Guarini, Beth Harley-Jepson, Jen McMahon and Louise Scupham. From Team Boom Pods, Ella McDermott, Mary Wilkinson, Sean Hannah Marsh, Emma Matthews and Lucy Harris. For Spectra Wiggle, Mira Meller, Bex Durrell, Charlotte Berry, Gabby Shaw and Sam Fawcett. So a really strong team, a lot of experience in that team. Gabby Shaw, one of the most consistent and successful riders in Tour Series history, is Gabby Shaw in terms of overall wins, when she was with Podium Ambition and Pearl Izumi. Really has always been a very good Tour Series rider as Gabby Shaw. Brother UK, Abby Cooper, Daisy Barnes, Laura Pittard, Ellen Bennett and Grace Lister. Loughborough Lightning, we are about a minute away from racing. Frankie Hall, Emily Tillett, Flora Knight, Rasheen Lally and Sophie Caldwell. For Awol O'Shea, Maddie Wadsworth, Frankie Morgan Schlader, Charlotte Broughton, Phoebe Martin and Georgia Bullard. We are almost there. We've got a few more teams we'll introduce you to as we go, but the countdown is starting. We are almost ready for the start of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series. We are underway. We are off and racing here in Guisborough for round one. A technical course. You can see little bit of moisture on the road, so that kind of in cycling is what we term the twilight zone in terms of can make it a little bit slippy out there. But 12 corners in total, so the riders get their sighting lap. So we head down Westgate, then we'll have a little kicker, a little right into left, into a right, then Church Street. We've got a sweeping left-hander where we go round into Redcar Road. We will then take a 90-degree left into Walker's Row, head up towards Northgate, another 90-degree right, left into Balclough Street, then a left and then a sweeping kind of kink to the right to Priory Close, where they've got a sweeping left, and then into Reed Tellis, a right-hander, then two 90-degree bends to bring us back into Westgate. And so you can see we always get a sighting lap in the Tour Series just to give the riders that opportunity to just settle in. Running through other teams: Torelli, Cayman, Scimitar, Holly Brett, Kim Cadzo, Lee Boone and Olivia Bentley. A very international team. St. Piran, the women's team, are here for in the blue with that traditional Cornish tartan on the jersey as well. Emily Chilton, Sophie L, Maddie Gammons, Gemma Sargent and Hannah Bays representing them tonight. Data Links, Paranasis, Nicholas Sodden, Isabel Johnson, Sophie Holmes, Iona Sue and Laura Cheeseman. From Alba, the Alba Development Road team, Victoria Smith, Sophie Langford, Sophie Enever, Kate Richardson and Beth McIver representing them. That is all your riders. And we will do our best to keep you up to speed with who is where. But Joe Tindley, you can see here, for Pro Noctis Rota. That's your Torelli jersey. You can see the dark blue. Gemma Sargent here as well, and that light blue. That's the St. Piran women's team jersey. That's Cornish tartan around the cuffs of the jersey. Doing a lot of development work down in Cornwall. The St. Piran team, both the men's and the women's teams, are here. For teams like Cams Basso as well, they've got a kind of double program going on at the moment as well. Cams Basso, a UCI Continental team, they're down or are getting ready for Vuelta Andalucía, which happens this week as well. So bit of a double program for them, but a lot of talent within that Cams Basso team. Awol O'Shea, another growing team. There's Gabby Shaw, you can see there, tall rider with in that gold, grey and black jersey. And Gabby Shaw's always a rider that started super fast in Tour Series races. So we are off and racing as we go through the line. So away we go. 1 hour and 5 laps in total. So you can see colours of Team Boom Pods getting themselves up towards the front. As we said, Ella McDermott had a great Tour Series last year, did the Boom Pods rider. Joe Tindley though, straight through. Looks like Harriet Dodd also moving up towards the front. But Tindley, look at this. This is how you set your stall out for everybody. Joe Tindley just using that tactic. It's a good tactic in a criterium race such as this, is to go hard from the start and then just look back, see how everyone is feeling. And if you just can make this race super hard from the start, it kind of puts everyone on the back foot immediately. If you're new to the Tour Series though, remember it's a team competition, so it's all about the team as well. So although an individual gets those bragging rights on that individual victory on the night, it's all about the team within the race as well. So when we get to the finish, we'll be looking around and looking for the teammates as well, and in making sure that the teammates and team get themselves and pack the front to make sure that they score maximum points. So 3 women to count, 4 men to count in the men's series, but already going clear. So just going through. So Sophie Lewis leading through, Joe Tindley, then Ella McDermott going through next. Lucy Lee up there. So Ellen McDermott starting to give chase. So 1 minute 57.897 is that first lap. So Cams Basso and Pro Noctis lighting this one up from the start. But you can see Ellen McDermott of Boom Pods trying to come through. So those Brother UK orientation marketing jerseys. We'll get to know a lot of our riders as well. We don't. The first round of the Tour Series is always an interesting one as well in terms of getting to know a lot of the riders, new teams. Sometimes we're seeing them on our screens for the first time. So now through towards the front. And Lucy Lee was the rider from that Brother UK team that went through the start-finish line up towards the front. It's now just joined these three riders now at the head of the race. So Grace Lister, I think this is up towards the front here for Brother UK with Joe Tindley and Sophie Lewis. Lap 2. Just getting that race to settle. Ellen McDermott and Joe Tindley had great battles in the Tour Series last year. We could, of course, had a break during the COVID pandemic, made a return last year. But Joe Tindley took the sprints title with 40 points last year, ahead of Ellen McDermott, Jess Finney. So Megan Barker up towards the front as well. So Grace Lister leading through. So 1 minute and 57 that time for Grace Lister, leading Joe Tindley, Sophie Lewis, Ellen McDermott. Megan Barker, Corin's side, teammate of Joe Tindley, is up there as well. Jess Finney, Maddie Wadsworth of AWOL O'Shea is not far away from the front of that group. So the Cams Basso team, there's a little decision to make here. Do they just close that gap up to the teammate? Looks like they are. So Joe Tindley setting things up. So National Criterium champion. So round 1 here in Guisborough. So if you want to know where we are, historic market town lying in the foot of the Cleveland Hills. So Guisborough, 14th century church as well. So it's the gate. It's also known as the gateway to the North York Moors National Park. So that's where we are. We're in North Yorkshire. And stage 4 of this year's Tour of Britain will take place from Redcar to Duncan Park, Helmsley on Wednesday the 7th of September. So put that one in your diary as well. So that's where we are. This course, you can see already 12 laps, 12 quarters rather, in this course. And it just looked like it was coming back, didn't it? Sophie Lewis for Cams Basso. The hammer down again on the front. Grace Lister just trying to stay on the back here. So with in good company here is Grace Lister back round into the start-finish straight. So you can see it's a 1.3 kilometre circuit, 0.8 miles for this circuit. And this is again quite traditional in the Tour Series in terms of the short, punchy courses that we have in the Tour Series. And it's unique in its team approach as well. So it does change the dynamic considerably, the team classification. The first one is always interesting as it just gets established and we have a little bit of a shakedown and the teams can start to just get an idea of who is where and who is going well. And of course riders, you know, they'll come into this one kind of not sure sometimes quite. Oh, Grace Lister just overcooks that one, just goes into the barrier there, so on the corner. So just has picked herself up as the group just comes round. So that's a shame for Grace Lister, that Brother UK team. You can see as well It's just those little kind of shiny wet patches that you can see, the damp patches on the road there, sometimes in these corners. That's a shame for Grace Lister. And the other thing, if in the Tour Series, that we don't get laps out in the Tour Series that you do get in some other parts of the world in criterium racing. But Joe Tindley just grabbing a drink from the bottle, and the national criterium champion, giving you a good lesson there as well in criterium tactics. Let's have a look at this. Grace Lister, oh yeah, just clipped that on the inside there. Grace Lister, Joe Tindley just checking back. So we hope Grace is okay. She was up, just managed to pop her bike over the barrier. So we're just over 6 minutes in, and Joe Tindley just comes through. So your two leaders are Sophie Lewis of Cams Basso and Joe Tindley of that Pro Noctis Rotor team. And we go back to the chasing group, and being led by Charlotte Berry of Team Spectra Wiggle. You can see some splits already within the group. And this as well, in terms of the Tour Series and the dynamic of the Tour Series, in the team classification as it goes on, you'll see riders as well. You've got to chase that all the time. Chase those groups, chase those riders in front of you to try and pack the front with as many riders as possible. You've got to start get as many riders in that front group and up towards the front as you can. Sophie Lewis just lining up now for the corner. So Cams Basso, the team that won the Tour Series overall last year, head of Pro Noctis. Team LVN, Brother UK, third. Jaden Vivalabello were fourth in the overall standings. And again, a good lesson here as well, isn't it? That group, that gap did look like it was coming back, and then it just went out again. Another injection of pace from Sophie Lewis, and that gap went out again. So the 19-year-old rider, Sophie Lewis, rode in the Grand Prix della Liberazione in Italy recently as well. Did Sophie Lewis for that team as well. Enjoyed the tutelage as a international race in that one. What a race it was as well. Silvia Persico taking that ahead of Chiara Consoni. But good experience for the Cams Basso riders to get themselves in the mix with those sort of riders. Goes through the line this time. So 10 minutes of racing, 5 laps completed, and that gap is opening now. So just start sweeping around that corner. So Holly Breck up towards the front. Ellen McDermott launches another attack here for Team Boom Pods. So McDermott tried to go early. Ellen McDermott tried to go initially with that Guru. It's a 22-second, just under 23-second gap though. Back from Sophie Lewis and Joe Tindley. Lewis and Tindley working really nicely together here at the moment. You wouldn't expect anything else from someone as experienced as Joe Tindley. Sophie Lewis, born in Peterborough, lives in Manchester, current national Omnium champion as well, second in the National Madison Championship. So coming into the Tour Series with great form, Sophie Lewis. It's a bit of a sprinter. And that gap just under 23 seconds as we went through the line. Let's run you through your top 10. So just on the front of that chasing group, we're seeing some back markers as their leaders just come through. So Lewis and Tindley coming through. And we're into sprint lap, so you can see that Jo Tindley looking to try and defend that sprints title that she won last year. The klaxon is sounding for the sprint lap. So 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer when we come round to the line next time. So first sprint will be the first sprint of the day. So going through the line, let's run you through who is where. Lucy Elmore leading the group through behind Megan Barker of Campus Paso coincide Ella McDermott, Charlotte Berry, Sophie Thackeray, Holly Breck, and then Sophie Holmes from Datalix Paranasis. So she's having a good night as well. Sophie Caldwell and Gabby Shaw are up there as well. So just going past the lapped rider there. Tindley and Lewis, so good, two very, very good sprinters are Jo Tindley, Sophie Lewis. This is going to be quite a battle for this in sprint lap this time. Looking for that freewheel.co.uk blue jersey. Tindley on the front though. Lewis has got Tindley where she wants her here at the moment, you would say. And there's a good run from that bottom corner as well in terms of that sprint lap this time. Tindley Low leading through here, so out of that bottom corner you saw Jo Tindley get a bit of a run into that corner. Looks back, Sophie Lewis, is she going to challenge for the sprint? Tindley leading through, so Jo Tindley takes maximum points. So Sophie Lewis not coming through that time. So as we said a little bit earlier on, remember it's as though even though we have our individual winners on the night, it's all about the team classification as well in this one. So Ellen McDermott on the front, Lucy Elmore right there, Gabby Shaw getting up towards the front of that group now as well. Charlotte Berry, so that Team Spectra Wiggle Fighters team, they're a real multi-discipline team. The likes of Zan Crease and Amira Mellor in that team as well. They do a lot of cyclocross, a lot of gravel racing as well for them. We'll just have a look at the time gap. So when they went through, so we're just heading up towards 15 minutes of racing. Still holding at, it was 16 seconds and 26 seconds back to that chasing group. So it is holding well at the moment. That gap for our two leaders. So just lapping Abby Cooper there, just going through. Pretty good start. So if you weren't with us at the top of the show, Jo Tindley, National Criterium champion in that white jersey with the red, white and blue bands, attacking on the opening lap of this one. Sophie Lewis going with her. Grace Lister was with them and unfortunately took a tumble on a corner. Building a considerable advantage in 26 seconds in a Tour Series course like this is difficult to close on a course so technical as this. Once you get that gap, once you're out of sight and out of mind, you can see the group behind lined out by Gabby Shaw and Emma Matthews. So Lucy Elmore, Emma Matthews from Boom Pods up there. Gabby Shaw very much to the front. Corin's side, the teammate of Joe Tindley, up towards the front of the group. They will want to challenge for the general classification in the team standings. So remember, it's 3 riders to count. 10 points down to 1 awarded to the teams. So I'm just looking around, seeing the teams that have got 3 riders up there. So the Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kayetsen is all of the sponsor of Joe Tindley's team. So they've got Lucy Elmore, Corin's side are all in that group behind, and Isabel Darby is a little bit further down the group. Cam's Basso with Sophie Lewis in the leading group here. Then in that chasing group behind, they have Sophie Thackeray, Megan and Megan Barker. Jess Finney, I think, is just on the back of the group for Cam's Basso. Lewis, though, takes the opportunity just to grab a drink. But now they're fully committed to this one, these 2 riders. Your chasing group, and it's that Loughborough Lightning purple jersey, so watch out for that. Frankie Hall leads through for Loughborough Lightning, and they've got a couple. Sophie Caldwell is also in that group as well, so watch out for those purple jerseys of the Loughborough Lightning. Great team name, Loughborough Lightning. A little bit of that NFL ring to it, hasn't it, Loughborough Lightning? I think we should have more names like that in cycling. But they're in here, challenging for this one. And it is good as well, isn't it, to see the national champions jersey in full flight in this one. You wouldn't expect anything less from Joe Tindley than to come into the Tour Series fully prepped and ready to race. 35 years old now is Joe Tindley on the front, and was one of those riders. Was a very, very talented youngster, bit of a trailblazer, just picking up some lap riders here just on the course. Our leaders. So Joe Tindley just letting the lap riders know that they're coming through. And Joe went away, had a bit of a break from cycling, and then really was inspired to come back into racing. I think a lot of it was down to the Tour Series. But since she came back, and that national title in Lincoln last year was another top draw performance. It was another lesson in how to ride a criterium, and a great ride by Joe Tindley. And you saw her teammate as well, Lucy Elmore, just in the background. Tindley just looking back. You can hear the riders just shifting through the gears, and the impetus has gone out of the chase here, really, a little bit, you would say. And again, Frankie Hall goes sort of leading through. 10 laps completed. So if you are just joining us, welcome along. Thanks for your company. Round 1 of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series for 2022. Round 1, we are in Guisborough. An hour and 5 minutes of racing we have around the market town here. 1.35 kilometre circuit. We have 3 sprint laps to take in, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points for those intermediate sprints. Your leaders are Cam's Basso's Sophie Lewis on the back here in the yellow and red, and your national criterium champion Joe Tindley from that Pro Noctis team. And Tindley, second place. repeatedly last year, and we know that Joe Tindley, the red mist descends for Tindley. In that sort of situation, she'd come fully into the Tour Series this year, absolutely fired up to rip these races apart, and that is what she is doing in this one. And it is a good lesson if you're a young rider and an amateur rider as well, in terms of having that confidence to just go from the gun in a criterium, have that confidence in that ability, just go and then just look back and see who's left. And in this case, there was only 2 riders left in that group. It did almost come back together, and then Sophie Lewis put the hammer down again, and it took them clear. Grace Lister, who was with them from that Brother UK orientation marketing team, was with them and did a great ride to get across. Unfortunately, took a tumble, and as we always say, we never speculate in terms of anything with the rider until we get an official update. She was up on her feet and handed her bike over the barriers. Go back to the chasing group. So Olivia Bentley leading through, Frankie Hall, Charlotte Berry, Horry Breck all up there. So as we just look down through that group, so the gap back, Sophie Langford on the back with Gemma Sargent, and then we've got some other riders in the next group are going to come through shortly. So when we go through that hour point, the riders are then showing that 5 laps to go, but our next objective will be the next sprint lap. And our fastest lap time so far, we do have the fastest lap competition again this year. Fastest lap so far, best lap by Sophie Lewis was 1:57.897 for Joe Tindley, 1:58.351 for Tindley. And Grace Lister, 1:57.116. So that would be that lap where Grace Lister put the hammer down to get across so far for Grace Lister. So that was the fastest lap that was set early on. Tindley on the back here. She has had a good season so far. Won the famous March Hare Crit earlier on in the year. It's always a famous, it's a fairly traditional start to the season. It used to take place at Eastway, which was the circuit where the Olympic tarts were built, and it was always a real traditional opener to the season. Sophie Caldwell leading through. So Lucy Elmore and Emma Matthews are in the gap. Sophie Caldwell, Ella McDermott still well up there. And our time gap. So Lucy Elmore is sitting at 15 seconds. Emma Matthews at 24 and 5 seconds just off the front. So they're all on the same lap. So it'll be interesting to see if Lucy Elmore can get herself across this gap and give that Pro Noctis Rota Red Chili Heidi Kelson team 2 representatives at the front. So remember, it's 3 riders to count in terms of the general classification in the Tour Series. So it's, again, all about the team in this one. That's what makes this series so unique. And it was, we're in the 13th edition of the Tour Series now. And the Women's Series has just grown from that first one that we had, where Danny Rowe won that, and the series has just grown and grown over the years. And the Tour Series, really, when you look at the Women's Tour, you would say that the growth of the Tour Series was really the catalyst as well for the start of the Women's Tour, which of course is also promoted by Sweet Spot and takes place in June. And one of the most popular riders amongst popular races amongst the women's pro peloton around the world. They love coming to Great Britain to race, and now this series, and we're gonna flip backwards and forwards between the men's and women's races in terms of which race starts first throughout the series this year as well. There's Lucy Elmore just going through your picture. So Lucy Elmore is in the gap in between. So we get a look that time of Lucy Elmore, 13 seconds. Then you've got Emma Matthews of Team Boom Pods. Loughborough Lightning are chasing on the front. You can see some riders just grabbing a gel. That group really spread out. It's always a real baptism of fire coming into the Tour Series for the first time each season. 1.35 kilometre circuits, an hour plus 5 laps. So I'm being told it's 15 seconds is that gap back to our chaser. So Lucy Elmore doing the right thing, just persisting with her chase, with her teammate ahead. Remember, even if she finishes off the front, even if she didn't catch her teammate, it still gives Pro Noctis another counting rider up there in terms of the positions that they finish, in terms of taking that team standings on the night. It was so close last year. Pro Noctis and Cams Basso level on points in the end, so you want to make sure you don't leave anything to chance in this one. You can see just a few little rain spots on the lens of the camera as they just again just some lap riders just ahead for our two leaders. And Joe Tindley, 3 wins so far, and also had a win in Birmingham, the Birmingham Crits and the Fakenham Crits so far this season as well.
Check out their website, which is unsurprisingly sportbreaks.com. Meanwhile, here come our leading 2 riders. Getting up some more back markers.
Into sprint lap. The klaxon sounds for sprint 2. And here comes Lucy Elmore. Lucy Elmore just chasing in the red colours of Pro Noctis. Sophie Lewis, as we said, she's had a great start to the season as Sophie Lewis. Good track rider. Team Pursuiter as well. She's had medals last year, took a silver medal in the European Under-23 Championships. She's a former junior European Junior Madison champion as well in 2019. And then has also medalled in the World Junior Championships in the Madison and Team Pursuits back in 2019. So that just shows the pedigree. So if you're looking to follow the likes of Laura Kenny and Katie Archibald, who've both ridden this series as well in the past, that's her aspirations to be an Olympic gold medalist and world champion. It's Sophie Lewis, the 19-year-old from Cams Basso. She didn't sprint it out with Joe Tindley on the first one. Tindley took the 5 points, Lewis took the 4. Will she decide to challenge Tindley this time, or is she just saving the legs for the sprint? Will she want to just take this one overall? When we kicked off last year, it was a Lunard King that won the race here ahead of Tindley and Ella McDermott, but now just lining up for this final corner. So this final corner as we go back into Westgate now. Lewis leading out. Is she going to sprint it out with Tindley? Looks back over the shoulder. Looks like she is. So is she going to start challenging for these sprints? And Lewis and Tindley. But Tindley comes through. Takes that one. Another 5 points there for Joe Tindley. Tindley, Lewis. Then Lucy Elmore will cross the line next. Back to the bunch, being led by Ella McDermott of Team Boom Pods. And Emma Matthews, so it is really as well, you can see they're up to that, up to Team Boom Pods to try and close this one down. For Sophie Caldwell. Then you've got Sophie Thackeray of Cams Basso. Megan Barker just on the back of the groups. You can see quite spread out now is the bunch. And Tindley just didn't give anyone a chance to settle into this one here on round one. But has already taken 10 points in that intermediate sprints competition. And it's important for the team. Get the team on the podium in each race. There's a lot of prestige as well around that sprints competition. So it's been won in the past. Annie Simpson back in 2012. Hannah Barnes won it in 2013. Helen Wyman in 2014. And Helen Wyman, one of the legends of cyclocross, you would say. Helen Wyman, European cyclocross champion as well. Many times national cross champion. Then it was really Nikki Juniper's competition for a couple of years in 2015, 2016, and a real battle as well in 2017 where EJ Harris took it for Story Racing. It swung back to Nikki Juniper in 2018, Jess Roberts, the Team Breeze in 2019, and then the rider's second wheel here taking it in 2021. So Lucy Elmore just trying to pick off these riders in front of her to get up to her teammate here. And this course here in Guisborough has not disappointed at all, as it really has given us a really tough race here to kick things off. Don't forget, we've got the elite men's race to come here as well. Live coverage of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series for the first time. So it's great to be able to bring you live coverage. Hope you're enjoying it. And again, each time you see Joe Tindley put in a performance like this, it's quite a lot of the time as well between these two riders. Just really, really gutsy racing all the time. So the fans just cheering on from the side. Tindley leading Sophie Lewis. So as we shift, we're over that 30-minute point now. So total time 33 minutes. As Lucy Elmore makes the catch. Lucy Elmore makes the catch there. That gives advantage now to Pronoctis, Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heidi Kielsen. So what a chase by Lucy Elmore to get up to that leading group. So now they're going to make it tough again at the front. So Joe Tindley is joined at the front by her teammates, and that puts Pronoctis in a commanding position in terms of the team classification. So remember, 3 riders to count in total, and they've got Corin Side, who's just floating around the front of the peloton behind. Is Corin Side was a real, again, another strong rider for that team last year. They've got Isabel Darville in that chasing group behind as well. You can see Lucy Elmore straight up towards the front, onto the wheel of her teammate. And for Sophie Lewis, just checking back over the shoulder, just to see where the group is behind. 19 seconds I'm seeing is the gap back to the chasers, and it's Cams Basso that are on the front, and Megan Barker in particular is the rider on the front. Multiple Tour Series round winner is Megan Barker for that Cams Basso team.
Moving up as well, Megan Barker.
She won rounds 2 and 3 last year, did Megan Barker. But now it could be Cams Basso got a decision to make. They've just got to pack the front of the peloton, try and make sure that they keep as many riders up towards the front, with Sophie Thackeray there as well. Try and just out sprint. If Sophie Lewis could take the win and they can pack the front, it goes, remember, it's all about the points. 100 metres to go up towards the line.
So far from the hour, leading the trio through the line this time.
Sophie Lewis, just be again an experienced track rider, just be playing this one out in her head. Okay, how am I going to outwit these two in this one? We know what a fast finisher she is. You don't win the titles that she's won and the medals that she's won nationally and internationally without being a fast finisher. Team Boom Pods, Ella McDermott also missed out on this front group. Charlotte Broughton, you can see in the white, orange and pink colours as well, of Awol O'Shea. Another experienced Tour Series rider is Charlotte Broughton. So Lucy Elmore coming into this one with a win at the weekend in Oakenclough. Won a road race there, so coming is clearly on some good form. Took a 10th place as well in the British Team Cup recently as well. Rode the Peaks 2-day. Just finishing off the podium overall in 4th place overall for Lucy Elmore. Very consistent rider as well. Rode the series last year, just finished just there for the Pro Noctis team. A couple of 9th places for her, just in Sunderland and Castle Douglas, because we only had 3 rounds of the Tour Series last year. But for that Pro Noctis team, made sure that she was well up there. So swinging back round into Westgate this time. Elmore, Lewis and Tindley. So Sophie Lewis got to manage these two now. Tindley makes a little dig. So just coming up on 40 minutes. Oh, what a shame. Lucy Elmore, after that chase to get in there, the attack there by her teammate has just distanced her very slightly, forcing her to chase again. Jo Tindley doesn't want to get rid of her teammate. You want to keep the two teammates in the front. Remember those 3 riders to count in this one. Emma Matthews leads through for Team Boom Pods. Charlotte Berry for Team Spectral Wiggle. Not far away. Picking up some back markers, number 125 there. One more sprint to go before we will line up for the finish. An hour plus 5 laps of racing we have here. It's round 1 of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series for 2022. We are in Guisborough here this evening, the elite women's race, then followed by the men's race at 6 o'clock here. It's a bank holiday in England. So everyone just been able to enjoy the racing at the end of the day. And if you're not sure where Guisborough is, if you're tuning in on our live stream, Guisborough here in North Yorkshire. As you said a little bit earlier on, stage 4 of this year's Men's Tour of Britain will take place here on Wednesday the 7th of September. If you want to know as well where we're going in the Tour Series, just in case we're coming to a town near you, so we go from here up to the borders in Galashiels. So Galashiels is on Wednesday. This Wednesday's coming Wednesday, 4th of May. So we go to Galashiels. Then next Tuesday, the 10th of May, we go to Sunderland. That was a race we had last year, big rectangle, fast courses, Sunderland. Then on round 4, Thursday the 12th of May, we go to Stranraer in Scotland, so another round in Scotland. Then we go all the way down to what's called the Sunshine Coast, to Clacton on Thursday the 19th of May, and then to Barking in London on the 21st, Saturday 21st of May, and then the grand final this year. We go to Manchester on Tuesday the 24th of May, so make sure you put them in your diary. Come and join us out there as well if you can, and then tune in here on our live streams, and also you can also check out highlights on ITV4 of the racing. And if you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome. It was this rider on the back here, the British National Criterium champion, wearing number 15 in that white jersey with the red, white and blue bands, Joe Tindley, that really kicked things off. Had the sighting lap and then just went for it. Took Sophie Lewis and Grace Lister with her. Grace Lister unfortunately taking a tumble while in the breakaway group. And then you've got to say, gutsy chase from Lucy Elmore, teammate of Joe Tindley, who's on the front in that red jersey wearing number 16, to get herself up there and get into this group. But for Sophie Lewis of Cams Basso, she will want the individual race on this one as well, especially when you're up there, isn't it, when you've got two riders from the same team with you. Try and outwit the two teammates. We know how well Joe Tindley sprints in this one. Sprint lap this time, the klaxon sounds for next sprint. Joe Tindley already 10 points scored here this evening towards that sprint jersey. Last year she won it by a considerable margin ahead of Ellen McDermott with 13 points advantage. So Joe Tindley on the front, 40 points she scored in the intermediate sprints last year. Across those 3 rounds. So Frankie Morgan-Schlader, I think it is, goes through the line. Frankie Morgan-Schlader leads through for Awol O'Shea. Megan Barker of Cams Basso, Charlotte Broughton of Awol O'Shea, the teammates. So Awol O'Shea, both that team as well, packing the front. Cams Basso, 3 riders up there. Charlotte Berry, Frankie Hall from Loughborough Lightning, Holly Breck hasn't been far away from the front so far. Here in this one, Holly Breck as well. Sophie Enever of Alva Development Road Team, then Ella McDermott and Emma Matthews of Boom Pods, Isabel Darville of the Pro Noctis team. This is the team here in red. She's not far away as well. And in terms of our other teams that are still in that group, just on the back of the group, Lucy Harris of Team Boom Pods isn't far away. Gabby Shaw and Amira Mella for Spectra. And Corin Side is just on the back of the group. So we will bet that they will try and get themselves up there. But just coming up to that group ahead of us is some back markers. They're about to be lapped. So, a couple of jerseys in there from that St. Piran women's team. And a little kick back there for that intermediate sprint by Lucy Elmore. So Louise Scupham on the back. We'll just wait for confirmation if Tindley did take that one. Looked like she did just across the line, so it did look like Tindley from Elmore and Lewis. Back to the chasers. Ellen McDermott now kicks it forward here. Frankie Hall again on the front for Loughborough Lightning. She takes some points ahead of Ellen McDermott. So Hall and McDermott both score the minor points there for Loughborough Lightning and Team Boom Pods. And it's a good, the first round of the Tour Series, it always just shows as well who's coming into this one absolutely on top. But it's a tough sort of month of racing. And Lucy Elmore looks back, and Joe Tindley just gives her a little shout. Lucy Elmore had to just kind of put the anchors on there a little bit, didn't she? She's the team leader, you would say, targeting this sprints competition. So I'm sure there was a little shout there from Joe Tindley to her teammate in this one. This is why, as well as the overall, that she is out here to challenge for this intermediate sprints jersey. What's that free wheel blue jersey? 45 minutes of racing so far, 47.25 as we go through the line this time. And your three leaders. So the fastest lap who's still out there is Sophie Lewis with 1:57.897. So as you hear the announcer, Cole Lawrenson, saying there, so the lap riders will be pulled out with 3 laps to go. We're just waiting for the group at the front. So Ellen McDermott leads through again. So Ellen McDermott, Holly Breck, Charlotte Berry, Frankie Hall, Corinne Side and Charlotte Broughton. So those riders all up towards the front. So as we get in towards those final 5 laps as well, everyone starts to look around in that group for the teammates. It's what makes this so unusual. Just like, you can't just think of yourself in that bunch sprint. I remember in the days of teams such as Endura, and I used to was the team manager as well for the Podium Ambition team and the Pearl Izumi team back in the day when we won the Tour Series as well. And it was all about, from the side, getting the instructions to riders and trying to get everyone to just pack the front and pack the sprints. And Dame Sarah Story's Podium Ambition team snatching, remember, a Tour Series right that came down to the final sprint of the final round. And that does happen, and that's what makes it so exciting, this series, as we go through it in terms of the points scored, and everyone's trying to do the maths in their head and work out where each other are. But if you could cross the line, Team Endura used to do it really, really well in the Tour Series as well, was making sure that they were all together, just doing that, just try and do a huge lead out, keep everyone up towards the front. It changes from that traditional lead out of just leading out, getting that one sprinter to the line. Here in the Tour Series, it's all about trying to get all of you across the line, as close to the front and as close together as possible, to try and pick up those points. So it makes it unusual in bike racing for it to be about the team. And of course, there is that prestige around being that individual winner on the night as well. And you just see Joe Tindley now just tightening her shoes, getting ready for this one as they get towards the end of this race. Will she decide to try and go solo, or will she be confident in that sprint come the finish that she can take this one? Back to our peloton. And looking on my live timing, we've got Sammy Stewart as well, who's on the same lap. So we've completed 24 laps so far. We've got one rider, Sammy Stewart of Team London Brother UK, who's at 29 seconds. Ellen McDermott is at 40 seconds, leading that peloton through. And at the moment, we have, with Sammy Stewart off the front, we've got a group. That group behind is about 25 riders at the moment. So plenty of teams still got their counting riders in that group behind. But it has been a tough start to the Tour Series for many riders here. This one in Guisborough last year, it was a Lunid King that took it ahead of Joe Tindley and Ellen McDermott and Abby Smith. Harriet Dodd and Sammy Stewart was sixth, and in the breakaway with Joe Tindley last year, Megan Barker led the bunch sprint across the line at 47 seconds ahead of Amelia Sharp Sophie Thackeray and Frankie Morgan Schlader. So plenty of names that we've seen up there going through our screen so far here in this first round. Were up there last year, so it always gives you that little buzz when you come back. And Lucy Elmore now just a little sprint through towards the front, gives you that little buzz when you've performed well in a race one year, that you go back the next year, you know the course. These courses, once they're kind of established, don't change a huge amount. Sometimes they have to add a straight here or take a corner out here and there, but they don't change a huge amount. So you go back the next year, you have that confidence, you know the circuit. Yeah, bike riders just have that ability. You can remember the course meter by meter. Oh, there's a little turn here, you've got to watch a little drop there or a little hole there or something like that as well. So coming back to have that confidence. So Sammy Stewart going through 31 seconds this time for Sammy Stewart. It'll become a little bit clearer as well when the lap riders are pulled out. So they are invited to pull out. But we are 51 minutes of racing, 25 laps completed here in Guisborough. So through the back of the course, through Priory Close, and then that tight right into Reed Terrace. Then they've got those 290 degree bends, left and left again, that brings us back into the start finish straight. So you can see this section here, just how short it is, and then lines up into Westgate for the sprint. And Lucy Elmore coming through. So your group, if you're just tuning in, your leading group are Lucy Elmore and Joe Tindley of Pro Noctis Rota, Red Chili Bikes, Heide Chaos, and they admit it themselves, they're the longest team name, you would say, in cycling, or certainly in our Tour Series. Then you have Sophie Lewis, wearing number 7 in those fluorescent yellow and red colours of Cams Basso, the defending champions in this series. So that team, Cams Basso, it was the team on form. This UCI team has grown out of that team on form. It was brother to on form. Anna Henderson, of course, now with Team Jumbo-Visma, riding in the World Tour, started with that Cams Basso team. They've got that on-form development team as well. Team Breeze in 2018, Drops in 2017, Podium Ambition in 2016. They won it 3 years in a row. They were Pearl Izumi Sports Tours for the 2 seasons before that. Katie Archibald, one of the riders in that team. We had MG Max Fuel Matrix Fitness, Horizon Fitness that won the series overall. But Tindley now has decided to just kick on alone. Looks back over the shoulder, and Sophie Lewis just closing that gap down here. Lucy Elmore just trying to stay on terms here, just sits back behind Sophie Lewis. Tindley, though, at the back end of this one, we're getting towards the point now where their riders will see that 5 lap to go banner, that 5 lap to go board. Lucy Elmore in the back, teammate on the front. Lewis just managing the 2 Pro Noctis riders as well. There's Sammy Stewart in the background, so that blue jersey of Team LGN, Team London Brother UK. Can Sammy Stewart get herself back on here as well? She had a great Tour Series last year, did Sammy Stewart. Really a very, very strong rider is Sammy Stewart. So good to see her in that gap, and just little by little, and this group here just starting to jump around potentially and just start to look at each other. It might play into the hands of Sammy Stewart. It might just allow her a little lull from the real sort of fluidity, you would say, from this group. They really haven't missed a beat so far in this race so far. It might just allow her to come back. There you have it, 5 laps to go. We are seeing now So 5 laps to go. Just the lapped groups, the lap riders, just ahead of our leaders. And Joe Tindley just looking back over the shoulder, just to see where Sammy Stewart is. They'll be getting a bit of instructions from the side. Team Boom Pods in the yellow and white colours, you can see there, just packing the front. So again, for that team, so they've got Ellen McDermott, Mary Wilkinson and Emma Matthews all packing the front. So if you weren't with us earlier, it's a team class of team competition as well in the Tour Series. So although we have our individual winner on the night and a lot of prestige around winning one of these criteriums, the team series is what it's all about. As a team, all of these teams come into this one to try and challenge for that. Team Boom Pods is a team that have been around for many years, and each year just growing in stature as well. These are lapped riders just ahead here, and you can just hear our Breakaway group just shouting to them, just letting them know that they're coming through. And the lapped riders will be pulled out very soon. Big group, that group. So they're now lapped, that group. So coming round right onto the back of the main group here. You can see just how fast this Breakaway group are lapping. So coming right the way through the group. There's your chasers. So Tindley, Elmore and Lewis. Go through that group.
Halfway away around this course.
Remember, Joe Tindley was second.
Gemma Sargent. There's Sammy Stewart just going through at the bottom of your picture. She's the rider sitting in 4th place at the moment, Sammy Stewart. So as we said, when some of our back markers have pulled out some of our lap riders, just makes it a little bit more evident on where everybody is. Sophie Lewis doing a great job here managing the 2 Pro Noctis riders. This is your chasing bunch. So Cole Lawrence are just letting the lap riders know that they are to retire on the line next time round. So Holly Breck leading the bunch through that time. Sophie Lewis, experienced track rider, as you said, is Sophie Lewis. She's got to be mindful of Tindley, who lines up for an attack here. Does Joe Tindley. Just had a bit of a run there on Sophie Lewis at the front. Lewis was looking forward as Tindley made the attack from the back. Looks back over the shoulder to Lewis. Lewis straight on her though. As you said, has got great form as Sophie Lewis. So does Tindley, so does Elmore, clearly with a win at the weekend. So our lap riders will retire. They sprinted out to make sure that they get their placings. Remember, that's all important for the team series as well, even for those lap riders. 3 laps to go this time. So Sophie Lewis just trying to manage the 2 Pro Noctis riders here. So the Cams Basso rider trying to take that individual win on the night and just hope that her teammates in the group behind can pack the front of that sprint. But it's advantage, you would say, for Pro Noctis in this one with 2 riders, 2 counting riders in this Breakaway group. And there's just one more counting rider behind for them. For Cams Basso, they'll want to try and pack the front with 2. But Boom Pods have been riding well so far this evening. AWOL O'Shea got a good amount of riders in that chasing group behind as well. Elmore on the front. So Joe Tindley looking for that first individual Tour Series win in her career as well. So this is the peloton coming through. Charlotte Broughton there, you can see. Megan Barker. So just over the hour of racing. So those lap riders there just sprinting it out for their minor placings. So Sammy Stewart, 42 seconds. So the attacks of this group. So Stewart well off the front. She's just kind of ridden a time trial, really, hasn't she, Sammy Stewart, in the gap in between. Olivia Bentley just leading the bunch through that time. But we think about our individual win now tonight. Where is it going? Lucy Elmore, as we said, had a win at the weekend. Tindley's had 3 wins so far this season. Lewis has won national titles on the track. Looks back, she knows the danger of Tindley. Got to be a bit mindful of just glancing back, looking around, trying to see where they are. Tindley now comes up to her teammate. Just a little word to Lucy Elmore as she went past there that time. 2 laps to go. Can the Cams Basso rider in the middle here, wearing number 7, outwit and outsprint the 2 Pro Noctis Rotor Red Chili rider. Sophie Lewis, though, wants to make sure that she knows where both of these riders is, riding this one like a real tracky. Joe Tindley as well, grew up on the boards, real experienced track rider as well. So they're going to get the bell when they come round. And next time, where is the individual win going? Is it going to go to the rider on the back as well? You've got to say from Lucy Elmore, really gutsy ride tonight to close that gap up to her teammate. And out of that corner there, so Joe Tindley. So Sammy Stewart at 44 seconds. As we said, she put in a good ride here last year. Sammy Stewart, so she's in the light blue, dark blue colours of that Team London, Team LDN, Brother UK. So when they come through, it'll be 1 lap to go here in Guisborough. 1.35 kilometre circuit. It's technical, 12 corners. Where do you want to be out of that final corner? You see Tindley and Elmore now just having a discussion. Will Tindley pull rank in this one and get Lucy Elmore to lead the sprint out? It's quite close to that bottom corner, isn't it? Lucy Elmore now moves her way through towards the front of this one. Will they line up potentially for a final lap attack? As you can see, 150 metres from that bottom corner up towards the line. 1 lap to go here on the opening round of the SportsBreaks.com Tour Series. And it's the National Criterium champion, Joe Tindley, her teammate Lucy Elmore and Sophie Lewis that are up here in the group. I'd say Tindley would want to be on the wheel of Sophie Lewis. Lewis, does she want to lead out from that bottom corner? Clearly wants the front here, confident in her ability. Just wants to try and exert her authority over these 2 riders. Just boss the front of this one. Try and hug the barriers close. Here's Sammy Stewart. So we're getting to see Sammy Stewart in that gap in between. Not quite to make it up to that leading group, but doing the right thing here for teams. Stay off the front. Just keep time trialing your way around this course. Pick up the highest placing that you can do. 6th last year. Looks like she's going to get 4th. Joe Tindley 2nd in this one last year. Lucy Elmore, couple of 9ths in this one. So it's going to be a first podium in the Tour Series for Lucy Elmore. Can Sophie Lewis take her first victory in the Tour Series? Charlotte Berry just leading through here. So Charlotte Berry of Spectra Wiggle. The bunch get the bell this time. So Charlotte Broughton of A. O'Shea, Charlotte Berry, Erin McDermott, Holly Breck, Frankie Orr, Sophie Ennival all up towards the front. Elmore just grabs one last drink out of the bottle on the final lap. Tindley, though, has got the front. She wants to lead out this sprint. Can she take the victory here in this one? 3 second places last year for Joe Tindley. She wants the front. Sophie Lewis locked and ready right on the wheel of the National Criterium champion. Just 2 corners to go now. Tindley on the front. It's a 90 left and a 90 left with 150 metres to go. Tindley, though, has got the front. Can Lewis come off the wheel? They swing round now into the start-finish straight. Tindley's got the front. Can Lewis come past? But Joe Tindley looks back. Sophie Lewis is challenging. Is it going to be Joe Tindley? Tindley and Lewis. Lewis trying to come through. It's going to be the throw to the line. Sophie Lewis takes it for Cams Basso. The two Pro Noctis riders not able to outsprint her on this occasion, but as we said, it's the team performance. Two riders in this front group that counts towards that team classification. As we said earlier on, it is about those individual, the glory of taking the individual victory, and that belongs to Sophie Lewis tonight. But a great ride by Pro Noctis to pack the breakaway, put two riders in there. It's going to be a fourth place for Sammy Stewart of the Team LDM Brother UK from 6th to 4th last year. And then we will look now for our bunch sprint, look for those jerseys. So victory there for Cams Basso, and out of that bottom corner, and it's Team Boom Pods here coming in towards the finish. So they're getting up towards the finish now, throwing the line, bike to the line. Emma Matthews takes that for Team Boom Pods. She takes the bunch sprint. Sophie Thackeray up towards the front there for Cams Basso. Ellen McDermott up there. Charlotte Berry just crossing the line as well. Just having a little look around. There's a replay of your sprint. So Sophie Lewis for Cams Basso, the team that won this overall last year, takes the victory. They took 2 wins last year with Megan Barker. As we said, came into this with great form. Great track rider, and these do lend themselves well, these Tour Series criteriums on these really short circuits. There's your sprint. So Emma Matthews of Team Boom Pods leads in. Holly Breck of Terreri, Cayman Islands Scimitar team. And just around the front as well, Sophie Thackeray for Cams Basso. So she's their second counting rider in 7. Pro Noctis' third counting rider came in 12th spot, the current side. And then Cams Basso, Megan Parker in 19th, their third place rider. So Pro Noctis, Rota, Red Chili Bike, Tyler Kelson. They start well with 2 riders in that breakaway group. Not able to take that individual win on the night, but looks like by the calculations they'll probably take take the lead in the team classification on this first round. So good to get ourselves going here, and Joe Tindley, of course, will take that sprints jersey as well. Our men's race starts at 6 o'clock. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. You'll be able to go away and then rejoin us on the live stream for that one. Good to kick things off. And good to see the national champions jersey of Joe Tindley starting the series really the way she finished it here in Guisborough. So venue round for the second time. And if you're interested while we wait, Guisborough, it's a historic market town lying at the foot of the Cleveland Hills, and is a haven that holds many hidden gems, I am told. Guisborough's skyline proudly boasts the dramatic ruins of Guisborough Priory, a once lavishly endowed 14th century church which now shadows the cobbled streets of the town. It's described as a quaint but quirky market town, home to many independent boutiques boosted by regular traditional market that we have here, and a welcoming atmosphere. Guisborough Hall and St Nicholas Church, well worth a visit. Lots of local pubs and restaurants as well, which always makes us, which is always good for a tour series. And it's a gateway to the North York Moors National Park. It's an ideal place to base yourself to explore and view the surrounding area, and offers many mountain biking and cycling routes with some fast and technical challenges. The newly renovated and open Guisborough Town Hall has got some great self-catering accommodation, apparently, with facilities for cyclists. So if you want to look for an area to stay, it's a good base. And Guisborough, no stranger to hosting the cycling events. We've been the start and finish location for the East Cleveland Klondike Grand Prix between 2017 and 2019. These are some of our national races. The one-day race, which formed part of British Cycling's National Road Series, was won by Tom Pidcock and in 2018, Rory Townsend and in 2019, and Anna Henderson in 2019 as well. And they've all had individual victories in the Tour Series. And this is what we talk about this series as well in terms of development of riders. Look at where Tom Pidcock's gone on to. Look at Anna Henderson. She won the prologue in the LC Jacobs stage race at the weekend as well. And did, again, everything she could to defend the yellow jersey. Unfortunately, taking a tumble yesterday in the final stage of that one. But this series, it really has as well. It puts, you know, because of the TV coverage as well, puts those riders in the shop window as well, gives them those opportunities. And then, yeah, it's a really good grounding. And where do we go next, just in case you weren't with us earlier on? We go to Galashiels next, the Scottish borders. So Galashiels on Wednesday is round 2, is Galashiels. And it's a 1 kilometre circuit, and if you want to know where, it's in the narrow valley of the Gala Water, is Galashiels. So make sure you come and watch, and then join us on the live stream as well, and watch our coverage on ITV4 as well. Make sure you tune in for all of that. But a great race. I always like to get things kicked off as well. You feel you do get to see the new riders, see who comes into this on good form, and the circuits as well. Each year there's always something a little bit different, and we only had 3 races last year, of course, coming back after coming in after the break from the pandemic, and then 7 rounds in total this year. And we are going to split between, we're going to switch backwards and forwards between having the women's race first and the men's race first. So we'll go backwards and forwards as well. So the Sweet Spot doing a great job in trying to can really balance out things like prize money and all that kind of thing as well, which is super important as well in this one. And as we said earlier on, the Tour Series was very much, you would say, the way the Tour Series grew and the attention and how much everyone enjoyed it when it first started was really helped with the birth and growth of the Women's Tour, which is such an important race on the World Tour calendar now, and of course takes place next month. So if you're enjoying what you see here, check out the Women's Tour. The biggest and best riders in the world always come to the Women's Tour, so you'll be able to enjoy that one. So we're getting into a very busy time and a really big time for bike racing in this part of the world. We're just waiting for our podium. Thanks for your company. If you're hope you're enjoying our coverage here this evening. And in terms of the elite men, to get things underway, so we'll give you a rundown when they're presented. But Ribble Weltite, what a team! They're fielding here tonight. So Finn Crockett, he's on great form. He holds the lap record here as well, Finn Crockett. Charlie and Harry Tanfield starting as well, so you don't want to miss that. With Sun God are here as well. They've got a strong team. The Wales Racing Academy, Joe Holt, had a great series last year. Spectra Wiggle, Techers are here. The Tour Series legend himself, John Mould. If you're a fan of Mouldy, you want to make sure you join us for the elite men's race. St. Piran are here. Trinity Racing, Embark Bike Strong, Team PB Bike Performance, Global 6. No Pins, SRT Muckoff, and 0503 are the teams. But there's a replay of your sprint. Sophie Lewis and Joe Tindley battling it out for that individual win, and it goes to Cams Basso. So as we said last year, it was Megan Barker who was on absolutely phenomenal form in the Tour Series. She took round 2 in Sunderland and the grand final in Castle Douglas last year. So Cams Basso, the formation of that team, as you said, they won it in 2019 with as when they were brother Tifosi on form. 2021 as Cams Basso. Can they make it 3 in a row like Podium Ambition did? They won it in 2014, 15 and 16, Dame Sarah Story's team. Emma Matthews of Team Boom Pods, clearly on great form. Emma Matthews on the front here. Holly Breck from that Torelli Cayman Island team. So Boom Pods did well in terms of the team putting as many riders. So they got 2 riders up there as well, did Team Boom Pods. It's a long series though, this is 7 rounds in total. When they come so close together as well in that same week, 'cause you've got to travel in between. It's terms of, you know, training, and some riders as well are balancing, you know, they've got to balance work and studies and everything as well, in terms of racing the Tour Series as well. So, you know, it's finding that balance as well in the racing to, you know, as you go through seven rounds of just, you can see just how brutal it is. An hour of racing around a criterium circuit twice a week is, you know, and then you've got to recover. And I remember Victoria Hood always talking from team who runs the Team Jade and Vive La Velo team, and she would always talk about as well in terms of traveling in between all the Tour Series races, and a lot of her riders we're doing sort of, some of them sort of A levels and that kind of thing, and she would make sure they were all studying for their exams in the van in between the races to make sure that they didn't jeopardize anything with mixing it in with their racing as well. So a lot of the teams, especially a lot of the development teams, you know, they all have got an eye on their riders' educations and that kind of thing to just make sure that they're not sacrificing anything to be able to perform in these races as well. So there was a I think a few Jade and Vive La Velo and other team study groups that were going on traveling in between the Tour Series races. I'm sure thanks for staying with us for the podium. If you're still with us here on our live stream, we'll be kicking off the men's race at 6 o'clock. So we'll have a short break. There'll be enough time just to grab yourself some snacks and make a cup of tea. If it's that time for tea at this time of the evening, we're getting into the evening now. So make sure you get yourselves ready for the men's race. So as our announcer said, round 1 here of the sportsbreaks.com Tour Series, our new headline sponsor for the series. 13th edition of the Tour Series, the team series, which gives it its unique nature. But as we say, we all still celebrate the individual victory on the night. Sophie Lewis of Cams Basso, your round winner here in Guisborough, takes her first career Tour Series victory. Rode a great race, didn't she? Really gutsy race. If you were with us throughout that one, thanks to your company, but if you weren't, after Joe Tindley attacked and Sophie Lewis went with her, And we had Grace Lister up there as well. Unfortunately, took a tumble. I haven't had any updates on for that. If I do, I will, of course, update you. But as we always say, we never speculate on anything. We'll only ever report official results. But they almost came back to them. And then Sophie Lewis went. So and then the group went clear again. But what can you say about this rider? National Criterium champion. Was the rider that really set everything off tonight. We expected her to come into this series on great form, and she has. Didn't give anyone any chance to settle out of that sighting lap. Just went for it and then looked back. And our team winners on the night, and we expected it with 2 riders in that breakaway group. They are the team, to give them their full team name, Pro Noctis Rota Red Chili Bikes, presented by Heide Kjelsen.
So the riders representing our winning team, Corinne Side, Isabel Darwell, Joe Tindley, Lucy Elmore,
and there you have it. So Corinne Side, Isabel Darwell, Joe Tindley, Lucy Elmore and Poppy Thompson, the team getting this series started well. They will start next round in the leaders' jerseys. So the men's race will start at 6 o'clock. Make sure you join us for that. I'll see you in a little while. From me, Martin McDonald. Bye for now.